If you've been learning C or C++, you're probably used to variables that can only hold one thing at a time. Well, today, we're going to blow past that limit with a truly foundational concept, the array. This is a tool that will completely change how you organize and work with data.
So here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with a problem you've probably already felt. Then we'll introduce the array as the perfect solution. After that, we'll see how to actually get the data inside it. And we'll wrap up with a really clever trick that makes your code so much smarter.
All right, let's kick things off with a situation you've definitely seen before. A standard variable is great for storing one piece of information. But what happens when you need to handle not one, but 10 or 100 related items? That one value limit gets real annoying real fast. I mean, look at this. Storing the name of one car? Simple. But managing a whole parking lot? No way. Creating a separate variable for every single car? Car 1, car 2, car 3. That would be a total nightmare. Your code would get cluttered and become a pain to manage. This approach just doesn't scale.
Okay, so obviously there has to be a better way, right? And there is. This is the exact problem that arrays were built to solve, efficiently managing collections of related data.
So, what is an array, technically? Well, it's a data structure. But don't let that term scare you. The easiest way to think of it is just as a container, a box that lets us group a bunch of related things all together under a single name.
And I absolutely love this analogy. It's the perfect way to get it. Don't overthink this. Just picture an array as a kind of super-powered variable. Instead of holding just one value, it can hold a whole bunch of them.
And check out how easy it is to create one. You declare it like a normal variable, but you add these square brackets right after the name. Then, inside these curly braces, you just list out all your values, separated by commas, and boom, that's it. You've made an array.
Now, there are a couple of super important rules you've got to remember. First, everything inside an array has to be the same data type. You can't mix and match strings and integers, for example. Second, and this is a big one, once an array has created, its size is locked in. It's fixed. You can't just add more spots later. That's what we mean when we call it a static data structure, and you'll see why that matters in just a minute.
Okay, so we've packed all our data into this container. The next logical question is, how do we get the individual items back out?
The way we do it is by using its index number. You just put that number inside square brackets right after the array's name. But, and this is a huge but, there's a little quirk here you absolutely have to burn into your brain.
And that quirk is this number, 0. In C++, and honestly in most programming languages, we don't start counting from 1. We always start counting from 0. This is called zero-based indexing. So the first item in the array is at index 0, the second is at index 1, the third is at index 2, and so on. It feels a little weird at first, trust me, but you'll get used to it fast.
Here's a great way to think about it. If the array itself is a parking garage, then the index is just the specific parking spot number. You're just telling the computer which spot to go to.
And you know what's cool? This works both ways. Just as easily as you can read what's in a spot, you can also change it. Here, we're just saying, hey, go to spot 0, and instead of a Corvette, park a Camaro there.
All right, so arrays are awesome. But remember that whole fixed size thing we talked about? Well, that's about to cause us a little bit of trouble, especially when we want our code to be flexible and not break all the time.
Take a look at this for loop. The problem is right here, I less than 3. We've hard-coded the number 3 into our logic. It's only ever going to run 3 times. So the moment we go back and add a 4th car to our array, our code is now broken. It's never even going to know that new car, Sandy, exists.
Yeah, nobody wants to go into their code and manually change that number every single time the data changes. That is just asking for bugs. Thankfully, C++ gives us a really elegant tool to solve this problem.
So this brings us to the key question. How can we write our code so that it automatically knows the size of the array without us having to manually type in the number?
And the answer lies in the sizeof operator. This is a built-in tool that tells us how much memory, measured in bytes, any variable or data type is taking up. So here's step 1 of the trick. We use sizeof on the entire array itself. In this example, we have an array of 5 characters. Since each character takes up 1 byte of memory, sizeof correctly tells us the total size is 5 bytes. Simple enough. Now for step 2. We use sizeof again, but this time not on the whole array, just on the data type of a single element. In this case, that's a char, which we know takes up exactly 1 byte of memory.
And here it is, the aha moment. We just divide the total size of the array by the size of a single element. 5 bytes divided by 1 byte gives us 5, the exact number of elements. And the best part? This trick works for any data type, making our code automatically adapt to the size of the array. It's brilliant!
All right, let's just quickly recap the big ideas. First, arrays are your go-to container for storing multiple, related values of the same type. Second, always remember that access starts at index 0. And finally, you can dynamically find an array's length by dividing its total size in bytes by the size of one of its elements.
So we've seen the power of static arrays, but their fixed size leads to a final, pretty interesting question. What do you do when you don't know how much data you'll need ahead of time? How do you handle data that needs to grow and shrink while your program is running? Answering that question, well, that's what leads to even more powerful data structures in C++.